weeks ago when Dana White announced that Paddy Pimblett would be fighting Justin Gaethje for the lightweight title, everybody was wondering what was going on. Ilia Topuria said he's taking a step back. His personal life's a little crazy right now, but I will fight in the second quarter of 2026. We all know he's going through a divorce, so we figured there were some complications with that. But this morning, Ilia Topuria put out a very long statement on Instagram basically saying, I am being accused of domestic violence. I was trying to stay quiet, but I will not stay quiet. I didn't do these things. The evidence will show you. We're just going to continue to fight this. And I got to take a step away from the UFC. And it's an interesting development because those are pretty heavy allegations. And if he didn't do it, those are horrible things to be accused of. If he did do it, what kind of message is that sending from the UFC that they could have somebody like this as champion? So now Ilia Topuria is in a really tough spot, both with his career and his personal life. The question becomes, do you just strip him at this point or do you let it play out? My name is Angelo. This is Josh Thompson, and welcome to Bad Takes. Joshua, did you read his whole statement?
I didn't read the whole statement, no.
Is it because there was a couple of big words in there?
No, anything past 3 sentences, I'm like, you know what? This is just too much.
It is a pretty, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it is a pretty long statement, but
because you ran into those big words.
Well, I have a Connecticut public school education, so I can
that doesn't say very much.
Nah, top 3 public schools in the country.
Oh, really? I'd like to see that.
It's Massachusetts, Connecticut, and then New Jersey. 100%. I mean, these are objective facts.
Okay. I'll look it up after.
Objective. I'm going to read this one sort of paragraph here because this is the meat of it. In recent months, I have been subjected to severe and unacceptable pressure, including threats to disseminate false allegations of domestic abuse unless financial demands were met. These allegations are entirely unfounded. The truth of the matter is not an opinion. It is a matter of evidence. So basically saying, and he's not overtly saying it's his wife, but it has to be. He's basically saying, I am being told that they're going to tell the world I hit her unless I pay them money. And so now it's a very dicey situation.
I want to know where he's going to get the evidence to prove he didn't do it. That's the only thing. And look, and I'm on his side in this situation until otherwise proven that he's guilty. And I'm going to always go, and that's just kind of my letter of the law, is like, let's see how the court plays out. Let's see exactly what evidence comes to fruition. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, which I do all the time. But in this situation, this is very serious. This is, I know in talking about fights and joking about fights and other things, you can go ahead and slip up. But in this situation, I'm gonna let the courts decide on what actually is going to be done. But I'm more interested, like what evidence can you prove? Can you show to prove that you didn't hit her? And then what evidence is she going to show to prove that you did? And in terms of stripping him as a title, absolutely not. Nope. If he doesn't want to be stripped, then don't strip. You have the interim title. You move on from there, and you figure it out from there. But I don't think you should, unless this takes over a year. I would imagine just leaving him where he is for right now, and hopefully it gets resolved before then.
It is tough because proving he did do it is probably easier. Right? Because like maybe she texted him, you hit me, or has video pulled out her phone. That side's probably easier because for him to prove that this is complete nonsense, he would have to have like a text or something that says, if you don't give me money, I'm going to say this happened, or I'm going to lie. Yeah. And who like it just, it's a tough spot because if it is true, the guy's a piece of shit scumbag, goodbye. And I don't know if you saw Bryce Mitchell put out a whole video basically calling him a woman beater and you're a piece of shit and you're going to hell. You need to repent. Bryce Mitchell's giving no benefit of the doubt, zero innocent until proven guilty. That dude was like, you're a woman beater. Go to hell.
And this is where I didn't want to put my foot in my mouth. See, that I didn't want to be in the Bryce Mitchell situation where if later on it's proven that then you have to you basically have to give a retraction. No thanks, or an apology. I mean, no thanks. Yeah. I don't want to do that. And in this situation, though, too, it's, to be honest, it's none of our business. I know we're going to talk about it because it puts him. He's an MMA champion, and and he's exploded on the scene. He's a 2-division champion. There's people want to tear him down. I'm not going to sit here and tear him down. I'm going to wait until everything has been talked about in the courts. I'm going to wait till see what the settlements are. I'm going to wait to see if the divorce goes through. I'm going to wait for all of those things and see exactly what happens. So Look, getting divorced, period, has been proven to be complicated across, doesn't matter which country you're in. Okay. In some countries it's not permitted. Like you're not leaving, you're staying. In this situation, I mean, they're going to get through this. And I think everything's going to come to light and people will talk about it then. But right now I'm not going to pass any judgment on him.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation because this is all civil right now. It's not like he hasn't been arrested. He's not being investigated by courts. It's like what happened with Conor McGregor with he lost a civil suit. He didn't get arrested. It wasn't criminal court where he was found guilty. It was a civil suit. So this is similar where right now through the divorce, she's trying to leverage, I'm going to tell people you did this, whether it's true or not, we don't know yet. And it just makes it all very, very messy. And it's an unfortunate wrinkle because a lot of people's theories were the UFC was just trying to keep him on the side so that they can get him on the White House card and do him versus Patty on the White House card, something like that. Well, that's obviously very clearly not the case, right? There's far more serious things going on. This is beyond just, hey, I need a break, or nah, I can't fight in January, so put together this fake fight that not for a real belt, and then I don't know what the UFC is going to do here. In theory, they should probably wait and see what happens, right? Because these are allegations. We haven't even heard the allegations. We just heard him say there are allegations. We haven't even heard them. So it's an interesting situation where what's the UFC supposed to do? Strip him of his belt when he hasn't been found guilty civil or criminally of doing anything? Or just let that sit out there for an unknown amount of time, have Patty fight for the interim belt against Justin Gaethje and see what happens, maybe promote it later if this lingers too long. It's a real tough spot for the UFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely is. They want to support their fighter. They want to back him. They want to be there for him. They don't want to, and how Dana is about freedom of speech, about, he's not proven guilty. Like let's just let the courts play out. Let's see exactly what happened. Some of the comments being, him sounds like he's being extorted by his ex-wife, for money.
According
like,
to him.
Yeah. You got to pay me to do this, pay this, or I'm going to do this. And that's a slippery slope. There's got to be something there that he has that she's texted or she's emailed or a voice recording or something. And so it'll be interesting to see how this thing plays out. Like I said, staying out of this whole marriage thing, but putting it like for the UFC and for fight fans, it sucks. But let's not pretend like, look, it'll be fun to watch Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett fight. It'll also be fun to see Armand potentially get a shot at the interim title if he's out for a long period of time. But you just gotta pray for him, or you gotta, have best wishes for him and his family, and hopefully he can get through this. And I'm not sure if he has 2 kids or if he has 1. But
I've only seen the 1 boxing, but that doesn't mean there's not 2. Yeah. I guess the biggest thing is I hope he's telling the truth, right? I hope there was no the hitting of his wife for a million reasons. Not even just a fan. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I hope he is telling the truth that, like, hey, the divorce is getting ugly. She's making shit up. I need to focus on this for now. I hope that's 100% the truth. And hopefully it can be proven and he can put it to bed, because it's hard to shake those allegations. And if it is true, strip him, fire him, get him out of here. He's a woman beater, and Bryce Mitchell's 100% correct. 100% correct. But the UFC doesn't exactly have the greatest track record of giving a shit if you hit a woman or not. John Jones, heavyweight champion of the world, arrested for beating his fiance. Arrested for it. Not accused of, arrested for it. And he remained the champion until he retired. SD Dumas was signed after the fact. It wasn't like he was given, you're the champion of the world, greatest of all time grace. They signed SD Dumas after being found guilty and convicted of domestic violence. So there has been a precedent set that they don't care at all. It doesn't matter. And it is a unique sport where, hey, these are independent contractors, and what they do in their personal life is what they do in their personal life. Like they don't work for me. I have contracted them to do a job for a specific amount of time on specific days. Outside of that, I am not their employer. They are not my employee. And they're just sort of taking that stance. So you think with the precedent set that they care, even if it is true?
I always used to say that they only cared if it was the lower level guys, but then you brought up a good point with
SD Dumas is as
yeah.
low as you're gonna get, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't tell you, man. Like that's above my pay grade. That's above your pay grade. It's kind of whatever they choose, and in one breath they could say one thing, and then in the swipe of the pen, the next breath, they can sign somebody that has done something like this. Ultimately, with Ilia, he carries himself like a champion. He's done it. He's done a good job marketing himself. He hasn't been trash like in terms of some other people that we've seen across over the last couple of years. He's done a good job. So I'm not going to sit here and just throw heat at him and throw shade at him. I think he's got a good chance of proving, if he seems convinced he can prove her wrong or prove the allegations to be incorrect, then good for him. Good for him. And then he'll get back on track. And it's not going to be easy though. Like people think like, oh, it's going to be done. It's going to swipe it underneath the rug. But the problem is though, is that there's time away from training. Not just that, the mental game. He's not what he will be when he comes back, what he was when he left. Will he come back being the same guy? Probably not. It's going to take him time to get his mental back on track. This sport is very mental. Everything is about it is mental. Whether it's the fitness, whether it's the conditioning, the diet, the nutrition, making sure that you're financially stable with your at home. Your trainers are all taken care of. Like there's so much that goes into it. You're one man, like you said, an independent contractor that has mouths to feed, not just your families, but other people that you consider family and your trainers. So there's a lot riding on your shoulders, especially as you become champion. So we'll see. We'll find out from him, and we'll find out. I'm sure there'll be more details, coming about, but it's a shit situation to be in, though, Angelo. I feel really bad for him.
It is interesting because for him to put this out there means he obviously, I assume he believes it, because what is interesting about this, and maybe we just haven't seen it, but I'm sure we would have. I have not seen the actual accusations. I didn't hear anything. The only reason we know about any of this is because of his statement. So typically you wouldn't get out ahead of it unless you knew it was coming. And according to his note, I am being extorted. Mm-hmm. They're going to say I did these things because they're trying to get more money out of me. But if it was truly not real, and if it was truly not a negotiation tactic, how would he know they're about to say this? You know what I mean? Like, how would he know they're going to say this? And maybe it did all happen, and behind closed doors, she was like, I don't want to bring these things up because I don't want our child to know what has been happening behind closed doors. So I don't want this to be public. But if you're going to fuck around with the money, then this is what I have to do for our kids. Maybe. I have no idea. And it's a bad week for men and women in MMA. Just last week, Joanna Jędrzejczyk getting threatened by Jamahal Hill, and Jamahal Hill ended up, in my opinion, coming out the winner in that whole situation.
Yeah.
And thank God we actually filmed a full, basically what we're doing now, and then Jamahal Hill's response came out. We're like, let's just leave it, because Jamahal Hill cooked these fools. He cooked them all. He showed up with receipts. He absolutely was like, you want to say I threatened to beat a woman? That's not what I said. I said, if you touch my girl, I will knock you out. And he's like, and here's all the proof that she instigated everything and she's a loony bin. Now that we know what happened, I'll recap it in a second, but now that we know what happened with Jamahal Hill, would you agree it's a rare win for the King of Cringe?
I would absolutely agree. It definitely, remember we were talking about it, I said, like, this is going to be, more stuff's going to come out. Should we be filming this at this moment? And we're like, yeah, let's just film it. And so we filmed it. And then sure enough, literally as soon as we got done filming it, we go online and there it is. And he came with receipts. He came with DMs. Awesome. He came with everything. And it's just been crickets ever since from Joanna. So that lets you know that things,
he was 100% correct. Yeah.
He seemed to have righted his own ship. He was like, look, I got it all. I got it all right here. And what I loved about Jamahal Hill was that he even said, my girl knew I was trying to hit. And it's like, so it wasn't like it was a secret. He was out there making it public. Yeah, my girl knew. And, and she didn't like it, but, she knew. And Joanna knew. And it was very just, it was funny. In the situation with Ilia, that's not the case. I mean, it just seems to be like they had a falling out. There's a divorce going on. I don't know. Nobody really knows, I think, the situation except for people that are close to the chest on it. But ultimately, we got to see how it all pans out. If he is someone that hit his woman, I'm gonna like. This is something I feel very strongly about. I don't even with my wife. One time, her and I were wrestling around, and literally like she sat up and she hit her face right on my elbow, and I
I
flipped.
bet she did. She walked into a door. Huh?
I felt so bad because she like started getting, obviously tears started to come from her eyes. She wasn't crying, but it was like, the watery eyes. And from that moment on, I was like, we're not wrestling anymore. We're not playing anymore. And, every once in a while she'll like try to grab on me and like pull on me and like tussle with me. And I'm like, no, we're not doing this. Hey, you just realize how delicate women are. And you just realize that as fighters too, we're just cut differently. Like we're cut from a different cloth. We do realize our strength. We do realize that, we have these techniques, these moves, our bones and our structure and everything seems to get harder and more and sharper and the normal person when they train with us, like, oh, it kind of hurts. And you can't do that with women. And that to me, this was, you just can't do it. And so that was a reality check for me, like an eye opener, because I like to wrestle around and, tug on, and wrestle around with my son and stuff. And even him, he's like, it hurts. Like this is not, and just we realize that you can't do that with women. And I don't think there's an excuse for it at all. So we'll see exactly what happens with him and see how it goes out. You look like you have something to say. You have this little smirk on your face.
I just lots of smart ass things. Yeah, lots of smart ass things popped in my head, but I'll save them.
No, please.
Well, it's too late now. I can't go back now and say
nothing really. Nothing. I'm surprised because usually what goes in what's in your mind comes out of your mouth normally.
Typically, but you're talking about the time you hit your wife, so I was like, let me back off on it a little bit.
You're wild. That would be what you came away from in this situation. That's exactly what you would be.
Oh, she walked into a door. Officer, we were officer. No, it is the Ilia thing. It is what it is. We don't know enough information. We might never. Maybe this was a preemptive strike on his team. First of all, he didn't write this shit. His lawyers wrote it. And maybe it was a preemptive strike on their side to be like, let's just get out in front of this. If they want to threaten to release this, true or not, let's just get out in front of it. And if we put it out there, now they're reacting to us instead of the other way around. Because denying an allegation is way worse. Nobody ever believes somebody denying an allegation. And yes, he is denying an allegation here, but he at least he told us about the allegation and then he denied it instead of us hearing it from different sources. So maybe it's a legal tactic. Obviously it's a PR tactic, but it might be a legal tactic as well. So we may never have more information, or it might, the floodgates might open here. But I do want to go back to the Jamahal Hill thing because now we have everything to cover there. What was interesting, if you didn't hear about this, basically there was like some shoddy footage of a phone that was probably like this filming of Jamahal Hill, a 2-second clip of Jamahal Hill saying to Joanna Jędrzejczyk, if you touch my girl, I'll knock you out. And everybody assumed Jamahal Hill's girl was there and there were issues. We heard reports that like Jamal and his girl were cheering very loudly against Jan Blachowicz for Bogdan Guskov at UFC 323. And then that pissed off Joanna. But no, according to Jamahal Hill, and I believe everything Jamahal Hill said. So I'm not even saying there's one side, another side, and then the truth. I'm all the way on Jamahal Hill told the truth. And the reason I'm on that side is because, to your point, he also showed embarrassing things and was like wildly transparent. He didn't try to pretend he was the king. And he basically said, Joanna, I'm in there. I say hi to everybody. I said hi to her. And Joanna immediately is like in my face. Where's your girl? Where's your girl? Immediately like running her mouth. And then he starts to elaborate. There was another camera angle where it showed Joanna slamming her hand on a table and he's just standing there like, what are we doing? And basically what he said is like, listen, I'm going to tell the truth. In 2003, I tried to sleep with her. I tried to sleep with her in 2003. Here are the DMs of me trying to sleep with her. And he's reading the DMs. He's showing them. He's like, here's where she said. And we met up. The vibes were off. I didn't sleep with her. That was the end of that. So I don't know why she's mad now. And he walked through all that. And it's like, I know why she's mad. Woman scorned is what this seems like. Oh. So now poor Jamal's defending himself. And I think he did an okay job.
I thought he did a fantastic job. And I'm a Joanna fan when it comes to fighting. But I have not hung out with her at this type of level. And so when something like this happens, like I said, when we filmed that video, I said, women fighters, they're just different, man. Like they're not they're not what you think if you date them, or I don't. It's not what people think, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult, and not all, but I'm saying, like coming across the paths and friends that have dated them, and it's just not easy. It's just not easy. So those are things that I could see it. You have two fighters, two, one very successful, both of them very successful, I should say, and being Polish, being a strong young woman, and I could see it. I could just see the writing on the wall and seeing how that could happen. So it made sense when I was watching it. I'm like, ooh, I could see how this thing is going.
And honestly, good for Jamal for being that transparent.
Yeah.
Because he showed every DM. It was like a 30-minute video. Like, and he walked through all of it. The 7-minute portion of that video is what sort of went viral, but there was a 30-minute video, if not longer, where he walked through everything. So good for him, because it's not that easy to be that transparent. Because I don't know, in 2023, when he was trying to sleep with her, I don't know if he was like actively trying to cheat or if he was single then. I don't think he mentioned that part. But he basically was like, yeah, my girl knows I was trying to sleep with her. Because then he mentioned a time where they got dinner. Him, his girl, her, and her manager were at dinner together. And he said the manager was like being a sneaky weasel and like trying to be like, bring it up. And like, oh, he's been DMing her. And he was like, yeah, she knows. I tell her everything. Why are you acting like this right now? What are you trying to do? So it's, he handled that really well, because he could have been in the same type situation as Ilia. Obviously, Jamahal Hill, people were upset about words. Mm-hmm. They're just words. Where Ilia is basically saying he's accused of physical violence. So it's different in that regard, but same in the regard of there were people immediately being like, you can't say that to a woman. You can never say that to a woman. That's crazy. And, once the context was available and he walked through the whole thing, it's like, first of all, he didn't actually touch her. So we can't get that worked up.
No.
With two professional fighters saying they're going to hit each other. I mean, these are professional fighters. And secondly, it's like, I think he did as good of a job as you possibly could explaining why you would say that to a woman.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
He's scot-free. I don't think anybody heard his rebuttal and was like, you still don't. No, I think they're like, okay.
No, absolutely not. And then, like, if there was any more that needed to be added to it, then she should have came out and just rebutted it. She should have came out and said, like, there was more to the story. There was this. It's been crickets. So he laid it all out there. I mean, kudos to him for being vulnerable in that situation, because a lot of guys are like, oh, like, I don't want to have my public life.
Women are crazy. Yeah.
That's all. That's all us normal guys would be out there saying. He's like, nah, dude. He's like, my girl knows about it. Here it all is, and this is what I did, and this is what I said, and I don't know. And let's be honest, there's probably alcohol involved. There was a lot of
He said she was drunk. Obviously, we don't know, but he said she was.
So if that's the case, then like, she probably woke up the next day going like, ah, shit, fuck, the video's out. I have to say something, and this and that. So she
her
put
Instagram video was funny, because her Instagram video was like, almost like, I stand up for women, and I'm a strong woman, and I know I'm an athlete, and I can defend myself, and some people can't. And I don't know, the messaging there was almost like, I'm standing up for myself, and I'm standing up for other women who can't stand up for themselves. Then you hear his side of the story. It's like, the dude just walked in saying hi to people, and she was like, where's your girl? Where's your girl? If I see her, I'm going to fuck her up. It's like, whoa. What? Yeah, why? What happened?
Oh, man. Woman scorned.
Stay single, guys. Hey, the moral of this story, stay single. None of these problems exist for singles.
That's true. This is very true. I mean, you go home to yourself. You can just, you don't have to put up with any stress. You get to sleep in the middle of the bed. You don't have to worry about left or right. Like, it is what it is, man. You got to fend for yourself, though. You got to make your own dinner.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you guys think. If you think Ilia did the right thing, maybe potentially getting ahead of a public issue like this. Do you think the UFC should err on the side of caution and be like, hey, you're not going to fight for a while. Let's just pull it. We'll make Patty for the official belt. You get the next guarantee. Or should the UFC just sit back and see what happens before a decision is made? Wild situations across the board. And do you agree that finally a rare W from Jamahal Hill? My name is Angelo. This is Josh Thompson. That was another Bad Takes.